So then what happened was after that half an hour, I was transferred over to, I was taken over to another police station via the couple, which was maybe about a couple kilometers away. And I was basically hidden for about 8 9 hours from 3:30 to about 12 o'clock. There are a lot of vested interests and powerful people behind this potentially, but somebody has to be the fall person who then came out around 9 or 10. Are people who kind of like generally look to film industry for like are not somebody who really are concerned about societal ongoings, or they're not courageous enough. They don't have the concern, courage, or even insight about what is going on oftentimes.
On February 22nd, actor and social activist Chetan Kumar was apprehended by Sheshadripuram police in Bengaluru. Initially, he was taken for questioning and then he was arrested. Now, the arrest was based on a tweet that he had posted from his Twitter account on February 16th, I beg your pardon, where he questioned one of the judges hearing the hijab case. The circumstances of his arrest are still murky, and several allegations have been leveled that there were several violations and procedural lapses. And his wife, Megha, was also not even kept in the loop, nor was her signature taken at the time of the arrest. These are some of the allegations coming forth. Chetan was granted bail on February 25th, and he's joining us now for a conversation on what happened. Chetan, first of all, great to see you here, great to see you out on bail. But tell us what really transpired that day.
Thanks for having me, Pooja. Thanks to the News Minute for this opportunity. It was February 22nd, Tuesday. It was afternoon, about 3:30. I was upstairs and I got notified downstairs that police have come. Now, it's very common in to my office that police officers come by from all constable, sub inspector, even higher authorities, IPS. They come and stop by, say hi, have a cup of tea. So it was no surprise that a police officer had come, and I came downstairs, and there was a man dressed as a police. It was a police officer, and there was right outside the door there were three larger men, all in mufti, not police wear. And then the first thing he said, the ACP is outside. He wants to see you. So I was like, I said, "Yeah, why doesn't he come inside? We'll have a cup of tea." And he's like, no, 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 he wants to come and see you. So I actually said, I was like, okay, maybe ACP comes with a lot of people and they want to just have a chit chat. So there was no question of arrest or no talk of any kind of violation, nothing. It was just they wanted me. They seemed pretty serious. So I started walking halfway down the driveway. They were like, why don't you put on your slippers? Because they said, and that was when I kind of, there might have been a clue that maybe there's something more. So I put on my slippers and I came outside. I came outside and there was an ACP Hoysala Jeep. The ACP was inside with another person. And then there was this kind of feeling. They were like, why don't you get inside? We need to talk to you. And I still wasn't convinced that this was an arrest because there was nobody had said anything. So I thought, let me just sit down. Once I sat in, then I got locked on both sides. Then I realized this is something serious. So I picked up my phone to somehow maybe call my wife, and they're like, seize his phone. So my phone was seized and I was sitting there and I was like, what is this about? Like, we'll tell you this and that. They kept it completely secretive. I was taken to Shetadipuram police station where I was kept there for a half an hour initially. And then they said, I've done some kind of offense. I was like, I can't imagine what we see in our kind of activism. We don't break the rules. We take permissions. We don't say inappropriate or vulgar profanities. Nothing. We follow the rules. Our ideas themselves are powerful enough to make a difference. We don't have to break the law. So there's no question of breaking the law. So then what happened was after that half an hour, I was transferred over to. I was taken over to another police station via the couple, which was maybe about a couple kilometers away, and I was basically hidden for about 8 9 hours from 3:30 to about 12 o'clock. Now, what happened outside, I found out later, but I was not told of the charges or there was no arrest that was showing, there was nobody informed. And then later on around 8:30, when I was told about the tweet, this was clearly not it was not a cyber police. It was just the normal police department taking action. Then when I gave my statement, they told me that this was a suo moto. I didn't even know who the complainant was. Then when they said about maybe 9-10 o'clock, they told me that there was a police officer who was doing suo moto. And so it was almost as if it was so much in the dark that they were like figuring out what to do, who should be the fall person for this, how should this be done. There are a lot of vested interests and powerful people behind this potentially, but somebody has to be the fall person, who then came out around 9 or 10. And if I'm mistaken, I could be mistaken, but the same police officer who was at my door ended up being that person who filed the case, the complaint. And then after that, and interestingly, the complaint was essentially 504 and 505 part 2. And both of these, I mean, especially 505 section 2 is actually non-bailable. So, and what these are is not, this is not a question of like questioning the integrity of the judge or questioning the judge in some way, or like making it difficult for the judge. These are charges that are saying you are promoting enmity between communities. Now, if you look at the two tweets, one was a tweet about 2 years back where I said that this same judge, Mr. Krishna Dikshit, had made a decision that was anti-women and misogynistic, which I brought that tweet up. I shared that tweet. And then I said, even today, there's an ongoing situation, hijab situation, which hijab is religious, cultural, educational, uniform-based, and a gender issue. So in terms of gender issue, this is the objective. Does the person have enough clarity? So if you want to make a case about that in some way with the judge, then that should be the charge. You can't make non-bailable, fabricated kind of allegations just to put somebody in jail. I was taken to the magistrate. I wasn't given bail. Then I was taken Parapanagrahan on the 22nd night. So and then even 3 days later, when I was given bail, I was intentionally on Friday kept there for surety wasn't approved late. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, this was almost kind of an intentional. Monday night, I was let out after 6 days and 6 nights. Now, this seems like an intentional attempt to basically silence voices, intimidate, scare, and crush any kind of voice or voices that might actually hold up democracy. So this is clearly something larger than that one police officer taking a suo moto action, because of all the kind of foul play that was involved, and which I found out later. And I was hidden away for 10 hours, and I was kind of like completely unsure. But now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because the power of the ideas that we bring out, equality ideas, Baba Sahib's ideas, Ambedkar, Periyar's ideas of justice, which is to correct the wrongs of the past, to make for an equitable, idealistic society, which we believe in. That is something that challenges the power structure. They're scared of it. They are intimidated by it, so they try to crush it. The more they try to crush it, the more we grow, and the more the truth is something that people will know, and we will continue to fight in that way.
Chetan, who do you think was behind this? You said, you suspect that there was some larger intention. Who do you suspect was behind? Because this isn't the first time you have faced legal action, right?
No, this isn't the first time I faced legal action. And in the previous times when I faced legal action, I mean, I faced like after my 2017 protest for the Delhi Adivasis, where we provided 528 homes, even though we went against the Siddaramaiah Congress government, the BJP a year later, in its some kind of party charge sheet, accused me and 2 other people of being Naxal inspired and tried to target us there. And that kind of shocked me in 2008, because they had nothing to do with the Adivasi issue. It was actually against the Congress government. And the BJP from center seems to be somehow affected or threatened by this. Then later on, about in 2021, when we took up the Brahmanism issue, Brahmanism is something Baba Sahib in 1938 talks about the threat against the workers in his workers' speech are capitalism and Brahmanism. We today believe that it is both capitalism, Brahmanism, obviously patriarchy, hyper-Brahmanism, which is communalism, and various kinds of inequalities are the threat. But the use of the term Brahmanism is a common term that has been used for over 100 years in many ways in intellectual academia. But the certain bodies, this Akhila Bharata Brahmana Mahasabha and various people tried to put 295A and tried to put me in jail. But the thing about those situations was that it was clearly something that is people took a stand and said, we are filing a complaint against this person. So there was other people in the public realized that these people have a problem with what Chetan stands for or what our movement stands for, and ideas of equality and justice. But here, there was this kind of pretense of a police suo moto case, which it whoever the powers to be, whether that be, I don't know who the powers are. I'm not making any allegations because I have no evidence. But there is something larger at stake here, whether that be, I don't know, whether it be judiciary or whether it be political parties, or whether it be the police system. It's essentially since we fight the system, which is a system of inequality and inherent injustice, to bring an egalitarian kind of society, then the system fights back. Now, there might be pieces of a lot of people put together who are pushing this one person, Ravi, who seems to be a pawn in the situation, because the Ravi is actually somebody who didn't even outwardly say he was the suo moto officer putting the complaint until 9 or 10 at night when he says it. So there's clearly something that is being hidden. And the people themselves know that if you look at this tweet, it doesn't merit it doesn't merit 505 non-bailable. And even the magistrate probably has that awareness too. I don't know. But in actuality, when we see the kind of statements that are coming from the political parties in Karnataka today, where you talk about the Congress, where you have a very very strong parliament, assembly MLA in the assembly says stuff very like carelessly about rape. When you have like BJP politicians actively spewing filth and venom against minorities and against people from different religious communities. I mean, these are kind of conflicts. These are kind of words and terminology. We have people saying, we will do this. Violence being not only subtly, but directly promoted. These are worthy of 505 and worthy of putting into jail. When you question someone in a tweet with this, which is without any harm, which is an innocuous, harmless tweet, then it seems to be what you say. You're bringing a machete for a mosquito. It doesn't seem to make sense. And so there are definitely powerful vested interests. I don't know who, and I don't know. I mean, we are open to fight in the battleground of ideas. You feel our idea is not good enough or somehow faulty, we will discuss with you. But if you can't defeat us in the battleground of ideas and have to like defeat us through illegal or extra legal or unethical kind of like criminalization and intimidation, then clearly our ideas are winning. And our ideas are stronger, and our ideas is what society needs. And the ideas that are in the political, executive, judicial system today, and they are the ideas of inequality, are clearly the problem in society. And so we believe ours is the preamble of the Constitution, which says equality and justice. That's all we're trying to further, and we will continue to do that.
I'm curious to know what the questioning was about, because your tweet is out there. It was there for a few days before the case was booked. So, what were they questioning you about for so many hours?
See, the tweet was for 6 days before I had put it up. And that was obviously, I'd attached the tweet from about almost 2 years ago. There was actually no questioning. There was actually, when in Sheshadipur police station, when the first time the ACP basically said, there's an offense. There's offense. I said, I don't see where there's any wrongdoing. I have no idea what wrongdoing there might be. I mean, please enlighten me. They're like, no, this is not just a mistake or wrongdoing. These are offenses. Now, besides that, there was absolutely no questioning. There was just hide him away and put him into like this other kind of like police station. Why they put me into another police station is because in Sheshadri police station, when my wife Megha found out that I had, and she says clearly kind of almost abducted or kidnapped by the police because she wasn't informed and nobody was informed, and my phones were confiscated. I still don't have my phone. It's been almost a week to 10 days. I don't have access to my phone, and they have it. I have to take it out of custody. And so when she found out, she clearly informed a lot of the organizations that we fight with, the movements, the activist circles that we fight with, a lot of leaders from who we have jointly fought with for a decade now. A lot of lawyers, activists, humanitarians came to Sheshadipur police station, and they're looking for me. And there was also media there. So this is, see, obviously, because they can't address the situation, because they want to hide things, because they want to do things under the radar, they don't want to be transparent. They take me, they hide me elsewhere, and they're like, I don't know, I don't know what's going on. We'll keep you informed, and this and that. And if there, and it's just actually, it's like clearly an attempt to violate and get away with the violations instead of actual transparency and law and order. See, this is not something, somebody makes a mistake, you take action, and that is the usual process. This is actually premeditated, intentional kind of need to put somebody away. And then you look for something to kind of figure out and say, how do I do that? You know, it's almost like America was looking for weapons of mass, working backwards. It's almost like weapons of mass. If there are weapons of mass destruction, then we will attack. No, they fabricate the weapons of mass destruction that gives them a reason to attack and kill lakhs of people. Similarly here, it's like they fabricate things. They want to find a fault, and the problem is there has to see, like we said, there has to be someone who's a complainant, and it was so difficult to find a complainant. And this is so funny because if there's no cyber crime. If there's a cyber crime, it should be somebody with the cybercrime police, and it should be the punishment should fit the crime. And so it's just, it seems to be, I think it's coming out clearly that this is, and the judiciary. If you're talking about the judiciary, see, like any public servant. If you look at IPC section 21, it talks about public servants. And you look at that, obviously legislation, you talk about the CM, MLA, ministers, executive, IPS, IS officers. If you look at clause 3, it also talks about judges. Judges at the end of the day are government public servants paid by the government taxes. They're taken care of. They're given gunmen by protection by the people's money. They should be held accountable to the people's, I mean, the people's voices. People should be allowed to question. And especially if there's completely no profanities or no vulgarities used, honest discussion about their decision making and their kind of perspective should be there. And that is something that is in the best interest of democracy. That is, we should uphold that democracy. It's not just a right, it's actually our responsibility to do so.
We've also heard some reports last couple of days, news reports also, which suggest that you could possibly be deported because you're a US citizen. Any truth to that? Have you heard anything from the police on that?
I mean, yesterday I saw an article after the media informed me about this. In the article, there's actually some document that seems to be listed. That document I don't see has any kind of credence or credibility to any kind of deportation. I look at this almost like kind of old wine in a new bottle. I've been hearing this for a long time. It seems to be something kind of an attempt to sensationalize, an attempt to kind of get a discussion going so there's enough kind of force and pressure to kind of take some kind of larger action, and most importantly, silence our voices of equality and justice. I don't take these kind of things seriously. I do believe that jail, in fact, even in the jail, there are a lot of people who, I met who are usually generally SC, ST, and minorities by overly represented in the jails. And there's a lot of people are the ones who don't have good lawyers, are the ones who don't have proper representation, are the ones that the police system knows they can misuse. So there's a lot of people in jails today who are unjustly put there. We need police reform. And I also, I am ready as an activist, if I need to, for the sake of a ideal society and a better society and our convictions. If they put us in jail again, it just strengthens our cause. I mean, if you're an activist, you must be open to going to jail. We know before, during partition time, where my grandfather actually was put in jail as a freedom fighter, my grandmother still gets freedom fighter pension. We actually, at that time, the people who went to the jails were also the freedom fighters, or by and large freedom fighters. You talk about, behind me, there's a photograph of Tande Periyar. Periyar went to jail 80 times in 15 years, 23 times. And you're talking about Bhagat Singh, who went to jail, was reading Lenin. That was inspiring to me. I had a Baba Sahib Ambedkar book, and I was reading Baba Sahib's book on Baba Sahib, Annihilation of Caste, and many other things. So there's a lot, and even so we must be ready to go to jail. But if there's actually a valid reason, then fine. If these are fabricated charges, it just shows that you are unable to defeat us through ideas, and you have failed as a system to actually provide equality and justice. And the people know that. In fact, it's just not just the activist circle, not just my wife, not just the people I've worked with who are standing. The public sentiment is something that is like, Chetan is being targeted. And he is being targeted because he's standing for the right thing, like so many other people in the past and present still do. And they are alongside us, and we're all doing it for a better society. So there's a lot of public support. And I think in the long run, the kind of established forces and the establishment who is doing this, they themselves will be held accountable by the public and questioned by the public. And they will have to answer for that, hopefully even potentially through a kind of legal case, and definitely through public sentiment. So we'll see how we're going to tackle this in the coming days.
You spoke about public support, but I also want to ask you about the response or the lack of it from your fraternity, the film industry. What do you have to say about that? Do you think enough people spoke for you?
Yeah, there were. I mean, film industry is something that is a business. We joined the film industry because we could make a larger kind of reach to society, benefit society. Is why I joined. I also respect art, and I am somebody who has studied art and worked in the fields of liberal arts in various ways. But film industry, at the end of the day, is a business. So the people in the film industry are people who kind of like generally look to film industry for like are not somebody who really are concerned about societal ongoings, or they're not courageous enough. They don't have the concern, courage, or even insight about what is going on. Oftentimes I really don't have much expectation that the film industry stands for me. There have been some people who stood, such as Kiran Srinivas, who made an exceptional video. He's a colleague of mine. I've known him for many years, and he's a very strong intellectual thinker. Ramya, she also put out a post, and I respect the people who have written. But more importantly, expectation for me from the film industry is not much, because I believe film industry is an entertainment business. But what disappointed me was when Mr. Hamsaleka, who is somebody who is an extraordinary film personality, about 2 3 months 2 months 3 months back, and is probably the greatest living legend in Karnataka films today. He's a music director and a writer. When he was these organizations, this Akila Bharata Brahman Mahasabha, for some things he said that were under the confines of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. When they tried to criminalize him and put him in jail, we stood with him. We fought with him. We went to the police station with him. We built movements for him. Went to the streets for him, and he was given justice. But at the same time, these organizations, when they did it, there was no support from the film industry whatsoever. So for me, I am somebody who's contributed very little to the film industry, and I still want to do more, and I will do more. But Mr. Hamsaleka has done exceptional work, and it just shows when the film industry doesn't stand for Mr. Hamsaleka, it shows that the film industry is not somebody. They talk about being Kannada film industry talks about being a big family. But at the end of the day, they're not a family. They're basically somebody who's all about personal growth and economic growth and self-interest. So I really have no expectations, but I am very thankful for the few people like Kiran and Ramya. And if there's anybody I'm missing who did stand for what is right, I respect that. And we hope to do more good work in the future.
Before I let you go, Chetan, I heard, your statement when you came out, where you said, you're not going to be silenced. You're going to take up the causes that you work for in a much, more dedicated way. So what are your plans? Will you continue speaking for the causes, or will we see a tone, a more cautious Chetan at all?
Yeah. There has, in the past 10 years, I have been active in activism especially from 2011, anti-corruption movement, April, and consistently throughout Karnataka and also throughout the nation. In fact, I've joined in movements of equality movements, Ambedkar, Periyar, Phule, Basavarna movements that we are building. But the thing is, there's I have, even to this day, never used foul words, never used provocative statements, never used profanities, because the strength of the ideas of Ambedkar and Periyar and very many people is that there's so much powerful kind of burning radical in these ideas. Radical in Ambedkar is a great book that I recommend to everybody. And these kind of ideas, you don't have to provoke. You have to just stand for equality. And that itself is a transformative kind of vision. So I have never said anything. And if I do say in the future, I have said in the past, I am also willing to self-question and take that back. But I have never said, and I don't believe the need to say anything inappropriate. So as I go forward, I will be just as cautious and discerning as I always have been. But at the same time, we will stand firm in the belief that these ideas of equality and justice is what the nation requires. And these ideas are so powerful and are so potent that the system is threatened by these ideas. The system wants to silence and crush these ideas, and they basically want to put it deep into the earth. But like as they say, we are essentially seeds, and we will grow into trees and nature, and the movement will continue to grow stronger and stronger. And today in Karnataka, you're talking about extraordinary movements of Dalit, Bahujan movements, farmers, workers, women's rights, minority rights, youth, activists of all sorts, Kannada language fighters. So a lot of people are joining hands and coming to the streets, and the movement is only growing stronger. This just validates that what we have stood for the past 10 years and what we have stood for lifelong and will continue to do so lifelong is the solution to the system of injustice and inequality that pervades corruption and various things. This is the solution. And we will continue to strive for that truth, speaking truth to power. And we will be as cautious and as respectful and as dignified as we have always been and abide by the law, but we will not give up the kind of passion that our ideas have. And we will continue to forge forward.
I thank you for taking time out. I know it's a difficult time for you, but you've been kind enough to speak to us with great clarity. And we will, of course, continue tracking the legal proceedings going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja. And thanks to the News Minute. I really appreciate it. And Danya as well. Thank you.
Viewers, in depth stories and interviews like these take a lot of time and resources, and we cannot do this without your support. Support independent media to ensure that you get unbiased journalism. Become a member of the News Minute community today, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.